ESPN just put out a story on what NBA GMs really think about Bronny James, and it ain't good. Analytically, if you had the numbers on a page and had no name attached to it, he doesn't project in any way, shape, or form to be an NBA player. My goodness. But we all already know that. It's obvious. Unless you talk to the media or the Lakers, they're the only people who think Bronny is a legit NBA player. Just listen to JJ Redick lecture all of us at the Lakers draft press conference.
I want to clarify one thing you just said, which is Rob and I did not give Bronny anything. Bronny has earned this, right? Bronny talks about his hard work. Bronny has earned this through hard work.
Wow. Dude's been an NBA head coach for like 5 seconds, already knows how to BS people. But the worst part is lying to people's face and treating them like idiots when they know what the truth is. That kind of thing, by the way, will make people start to hate Bronny James. And he's not even doing anything. He's just sitting there with his little sunglasses on watching JJ talk. It's like people who dislike rich kids, which I think is dumb. Like, what would those people all do if their parents had money? Would they say, oh no, mom and dad, I don't want your money. I'd rather go out there and earn it all myself and possibly be broke. No, of course not. They would take the money. So don't hate on the kid, you're just jealous. But we are already seeing how bad it's going to be this year for Bronny. A different NBA scout said, Bronny is set up for failure. It's like, what's the expectation here? And that's a good question. What do they expect? I mean, people are talking like Bronny's supposed to be a franchise player. No, he's supposed to be a role player. So what does a role player actually look like? Well, the guy taking one spot before Bronny is named Anton Watson. He played 5 years at Gonzaga and is 24 years old. 6'8", 225 pounds, averaged 14 points and 7 boards for the Zags, started every game, shot 57% from the field, 40% from 3. Zags went 27-8, made a tournament run, only lost to 1 seed Purdue. Meanwhile, Bronny is listed at 6'2", 210. 4 points a game, 36% from the field, 27% from 3. Started 6 games for a USC team that went 15-18, no tournament. But Watson got a 2-way contract, 1 year, $578,000. His guaranteed money, $70,000. Bronny, 4 years, $7.9 million guaranteed. So one kid grinded 5 years. His dad works in receiving at a food warehouse. Bronny will make over 100 times more guaranteed. You don't think that is gonna cause resentment from players, his own teammates? Charles Barkley said Bronny's gonna have a target on his back. You think? It's like that JJ Redick quote. Like, it's one thing to say, yeah, he's only here because of LeBron. But like, you don't expect them to come out and say that. There's a middle ground. You don't get on your soapbox and lecture people. Bronny's here because he earned it. Really? You can be a little more humble than that. Same thing with the money. I mean, sure, make him a draft pick, I guess, but don't pay him 100 times more guaranteed than a kid who actually earned his spot. It's disrespectful. But the Lakers aren't even the worst part. I mean, you kind of expect them to act like this. But the media really thinks that fans are this stupid. When Bronny and LeBron played for the first time in a preseason game, the broadcast made a huge deal out of it. Okay, it's a thing. But then they get on their soapbox, compare them to other father-son pros. The Nessers happened like 100 years ago. You got a hockey thing in there with Gordie Howe. But look at the baseball examples. Tim Raines Sr. and Jr. Yes, they played together, but their first pro game, Tim Raines Sr. voluntarily went down to the minor leagues to play with his son. Man said, it's my dream to play with my son, but instead of making it all about him, he didn't force the team to call up his son. He went to the minors. Can you imagine LeBron going to the G League? I would actually love it if he did that. I would really celebrate the moment. Now, they eventually played in the majors, but it was the last 4 games of the whole season. It was a losing season, just 4 of 162. But Ken Griffey, the son, was one of the greatest hitters of all time. And Ken Griffey Sr. was an MLB All-Star who won multiple championships. And he was still so good. They once hit back-to-back home runs as father and son in a game. Now that is historic. That is earned it. LeBron and Bronny possibly the first father-son to score 40 points in a game, I'm sure, but LeBron will score 38, Bronny will score 2. See, even I'm now getting in on the hater thing. But I don't want to. It's almost like they're forcing us to, right? By shoving this down our throat. Bronny seems like a good kid. This is what happens, though, when they lie to us. It's natural to be like, no, screw you. But what about the other media, like ESPN? Entire shows giving opinions. I mean, surely First Take is gonna tell the truth. Remember what Shannon Sharp said about Giannis having his brother on the Bucks?
You got your brother occupying 2 roster spots. Are we gonna talk about that? You know good and well, Giannis, your brother's probably not going to be playing for any other team in the NBA except Milwaukee, and that's only because of you.
Yeah, Unc. Keep on telling him about how messed up nepotism is.
We see it all the time in coaching. We see it all the time in front offices.
Yeah.
They do it all the time, and we don't bat an eye. Not all of a sudden, for the first time, oh man, it's nepotism. Half the corporations is nepotism.
What? What happened to calling out Giannis for nepotism? Now it's shame on you for calling it out? How dare people say nepotism? What this really is about, actually, is the power of LeBron James. People are gonna look back and be like, oh yeah, it was historic, all right. Historic that LeBron had enough power to get his son in the league. We'd never seen that kind of power. I mean, people were so afraid of him. Only people who would call him out had to remain anonymous. The NBA and teams were too afraid of him. It's why a lot of people hate LeBron James, the GM, controlling the roster and not taking any of the blame when it goes wrong, like with Russell Westbrook. This is GM. Like, did you see when he and Bronny debuted together? It was sick. LeBron goes up like he's in a full court press. Kinda weird to do a full court press in the second quarter of a preseason game. Like, you usually do that late in the fourth quarter of a close game. But then, oh, he's jogging back. Barely even marks his guy. What happened to the full court press? It's because LeBron was making sure the cameras could get a nice photo of the two of them together. And sure enough, what a historic photo. Thanks to LeBron James. This is all about him. He is pulling the strings, right down to what the pictures are gonna look like. So Bronny's being set up to fail, just like that anonymous GM said. His dad is making other people hate him, from saying on Twitter that Bronny is better than other NBA players that he watches on League Pass, to getting him drafted, to that guaranteed contract over 100 times more than other deserving kids, to orchestrating a fake photo. I feel bad because it's not gonna end well. Like, Bronny's stats aren't gonna save him. Bad stats in high school, bad stats in college, bad stats in the summer league. It's gonna be a disaster. And really, LeBron made it all happen as usual. Now, the flip side of all this is what's happening in San Antonio. Victor Wembanyama looks completely different than he did in his rookie season. It's gonna be good vibes for the Spurs this year, but wait until you see what Wemby's got planned for year 2 in the NBA.